Welcome back to the Deep Dive, where we take the chaos swirling around Port Charles and try to give you the comprehensive roadmap you need to navigate all the drama.
And right now, it's
overwhelming.
we are not just swimming in Quartermain crises right now. I feel like we are drowning in this perfect collision of legal, romantic, and just straight up criminal chaos.
Yeah.
You've got 3 generations of the family fighting at the same time. Over a will, over inheritance, and over who tried to kill somebody.
It's an unprecedented pileup of conflict, really.
Yeah.
And what's truly fascinating here is how Monica Quartermain's death, became the fuse that basically lit the entire town on fire.
Right.
It triggered immediate conflict over succession, property, power. And that fight is now crashing right into the PCPD's intense investigation into who shot Drew Kane.
So these two things, these narrative explosions, they're feeding each other.
Exactly. They're fueling each other. And it's rapidly pushing several key characters. I'm thinking particularly Drew, Michael, and Carly Wright to their absolute breaking points. Okay, let's try and unpack this enormous stack of sources we've got. There's an absurd volume of high-quality drama hitting the screen this week. But we do have to throw in one quick logistical note first.
The schedule.
Yeah, for those of you following along, the sources indicate potential MLB preemption issues. So Tuesday and Wednesday, they were preempted.
Right, gone.
Thursday's air date is still a question mark, really depends on those game schedules. But here's the thing. Whether it airs Thursday or gets pushed to Friday, the massive events scheduled for those days, they are coming this week.
Absolutely. That's the main takeaway here. Everything we're about to discuss, the will reading, the police confrontation, that paternity shocker, it is happening. Even if the schedule shifts a day or two, the stakes are just way too high for them to delay these crucial plot points.
Okay, good. So let's define our mission for this deep dive. We're building it around 3 main pillars. First, we are dissecting the shock and, the strategic fallout of Monica's will reading.
Which promises fireworks.
Oh, yeah. Second, we're breaking down the PCPD's closing net in the Drew shooting, specifically Carly's absolutely explosive confrontation with Police Chief Anna Devane.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be intense.
And finally, we have a major who's the daddy bombshell looming for Portia, plus the continuing kind of bizarre mysteries surrounding Britt Westbourne and the unexpected return of Nathan West.
That is a lot of ground to cover.
It really is. So let's just jump right into the heart of it all, the Quartermain financial crisis. Okay, part 1. We are starting with the moment basically everyone in Port Charles has been waiting for, the reading of Monica's will. It starts Thursday, apparently, and hits its full, glorious, chaotic form on Friday.
Yeah, this event is guaranteed to shatter any tiny bit of peace left after the funeral, primarily because Monica, well, like all Quartermains, seems to have engineered this document for maximum emotional destruction.
It's never just about the money, is it?
Never. This is not just a standard inheritance dispersal. It's clearly a calculated legal showdown. You've got Alexis Davis acting as the executor. She's there at the estate. But the tension in that room, you're going to be able to cut it with a knife.
So who's there? Who are the key players in the room?
Well, look at the attendees. Tracy, Michael, Brooklyn, Quartermain, BLQ, Jason, Olivia, and Ned. They basically represent the current, very fractured face of the family.
But wait, the sources mention a truly, shocking guest, Sonny Corinthos. Why on earth would Sonny be included in Monica Quartermain's will reading? That seems less like legal necessity and way more like a deliberate provocation.
And that's the key analysis right there, isn't it? The sources are confirming Sonny is included, and apparently Alexis actually told him to show up.
Alexis told him. Wow.
Yeah, which suggests whatever Monica arranged is designed to cause maximum disruption. Particularly, you have to think, to Tracy and Michael and Bike's Engine Drew. Monica always understood that to really hurt the Quartermains, you either hit them in the wallet or you involve the Corinthos organization. Sonny's presence. It guarantees friction. Major friction.
And a Quartermain will is truly devastating when the high-powered lawyers start circling immediately, right?
Oh, absolutely.
We hear rumors of 2 major legal players getting involved already. Martin Gray is apparently representing Ronnie Bard in this matter.
Okay.
And Tracy, always prepared for the worst, has apparently already hired Marco Rios to represent the broader Quartermain interests.
Wow. Tracy Quartermain bringing in Marco Rios, a high-powered and, let's be honest, famously aggressive attorney, before the contents are even revealed.
Yeah.
That signals one crucial thing. She expects this will to be either highly controversial or intentionally unfair to her and her immediate interests. This is immediate legal warfare footing.
So the implication is crystal clear. We are looking at an immediate, messy, probably very public legal battle over the estate. And what this tells us, I think, is that Monica deliberately structured the will in a way that just pits key members against each other, carrying on the grand Quartermaine legacy of internal conflict.
Right from the grave.
And it seems like all of this is centered around creating maximum misery for one person in particular, Drew Kane.
Exactly. Drew has already vowed quite publicly that he won't be left out of his mom's will. He has this desperate, almost palpable need for validation as a legitimate Quartermaine.
Especially after how Tracy treated him during the funeral.
Precisely. After he was treated so poorly, rolled right out of there practically, that humiliation is fresh.
Okay, let's talk about the pure soap opera drama, when the contents actually drop. The sources specifically say Tracy's jaw absolutely drops. She is stunned.
Which suggests Monica succeeded in hitting her exactly where it hurts.
But how does this play into Drew?
Well, this is where the character motivations get really deep, I think.
Yeah.
The central conflict hinges on Drew's determination versus the likely reality that he will be explicitly excluded or, at least severely limited in what he receives.
So he is going to be left out, or mostly left out.
That's the strong expectation based on the sources, yeah. And remember, he's already been humiliated by Tracy. His desperation for inheritance is deeply tied to his desperation for validation, just to be seen as a real Quartermaine.
So when he is excluded,
It will fuel an immediate and, I suspect, very visible rage. It's the ultimate calculated insult from his mother.
But wait, hold on. If the will excluded Drew, wouldn't that actually weaken his position to fight Michael? If he looks like this pathetic, grasping outsider, why would Monica play right into Drew's hands by making him the victim again? That doesn't feel very Quartermaine.
That's actually a brilliant point, and it really speaks to the twisted Quartermaine history, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Monica knows Drew is already driven by vendetta, completely consumed by it.
Right.
So by excluding him and clearly favoring others, she isn't making him weak, she's making him toxic.
Ah, okay. I see.
She's giving him that final push into outright villainy. She is essentially creating a weapon and aiming it squarely at Michael and Tracy.
Wow. Okay. So who are the favored beneficiaries? Who gets to benefit from Monica's passive-aggressive legacy here?
Well, based on the source material, the expectation is that Jason Morgan and Michael Corinthos will inherit a good bit, a substantial amount.
Jason and Michael.
Yep. And that is the core insult to Drew. He's the one who shares her blood, biologically speaking. He's been fighting tooth and nail to establish his legitimacy.
Right.
Only to see the family's assets flow toward Michael, the son of his hated rival Carly and Jason, the man he constantly struggles to measure up to, the golden boy twin.
So this inheritance basically solidifies Jason and Michael as the true favored heroes of the family, and Drew as the rejected, forgotten twin. Ouch.
Drew is going to absolutely lose his mind. You can see it coming. His fury over the will is now going to be completely intertwined with his determination to get revenge for the shooting, for everything. He sees the world conspiring against him.
And that brings us directly, doesn't it, to the attempted murder investigation, which is only intensifying right as this will reading concludes. Perfect timing.
Terrible timing for them, perfect timing for drama.
Okay, part 2. Here is where the high-stakes personal drama just crashes headlong into the PCPD. We have Police Chief Anna Devane grilling Carly Corinthos Spencer. And the resulting confrontation is described as pure dynamite.
Yeah, and this is crucial. Carly doesn't just sit back and take it. She immediately claps back, refuses to be intimidated. The quote provided in the notes, "It's fantastic," and tells us everything about her attitude right now.
What does she say?
Carly tells Anna, quote, "Do your job and stop trying to pin this attempted murder on the obvious suspect."
Wow. The obvious suspect. That quote is loaded. Who is the obvious suspect she's referring to? Herself. And more importantly, why is Anna grilling Carly so hard in the first place? It feels like Anna should have, bigger fish to fry.
Well, from Anna's perspective, Carly is a big fish right now. Anna has a trifecta of specific, compelling evidence that makes Carly a prime suspect, regardless of Carly's, bravado.
Okay, a trifecta. Lay it out for us.
Okay, first, the weapon. Edward Quartermaine's gun was used in the shooting. That gun originated from the Quartermaine house.
A place Carly has access to.
Exactly. Known access, especially given her close ties to Michael, who lives there. That's point 1.
Okay, point 2.
Second, the threat. Carly made a direct, unequivocal threat on Drew's life. She said it. And critically, Elizabeth Weber heard it.
Ah, Liz heard it.
Yes. And that information particularly coming from Liz, medical professional, a generally reputable witness, that would have reached Anna's desk almost immediately. That's point 2.
Makes sense. And the third point, you mentioned the alibi.
Precisely. Third, the alibi. When Anna questioned Carly about her whereabouts that night, Carly's alibi is considered very dodgy.
Dodgy why?
Because it was provided by Jack Brennan.
Ooh, Jack Brennan. Okay, let's focus on that connection because that feels like the weakest link here, potentially. Why is an alibi provided by Jack Brennan considered so untrustworthy in the eyes of the PCPD? He's a businessman, right?
Brennan's current status in Port Charles is, let's say, highly compromised. He's not just some acquaintance. The sources indicate he's under intense scrutiny himself, possibly linked to criminal enterprises that Anna is actively investigating.
So he's on Anna's radar already.
Big time.
Yeah.
So for Carly to rely on the word of someone who is likely on the PCPD watch list or maybe actively affiliated with shady dealings, it immediately renders that alibi suspicious. Anna isn't going to just trust the word of a man who might have his own reasons to lie, maybe leveraging his testimony to protect himself or gain some advantage.
Right. That adds enormous weight to Anna's suspicion that Carly has motive, means, and a shaky alibi.
Exactly. It all lines up from Anna's perspective.
And the Elizabeth Weber angle. That explains the drama we see scheduled for the following week, doesn't it? If Elizabeth did tell the cops about the threat,
Which seems highly likely.
that explains why Carly goes looking for Liz, suspecting betrayal. That reinforced, contentious, rocky past is flaring up because Carly believes Liz weaponized personal information against her in a murder investigation.
Yep. Old wounds ripped open again. But Carly is just one piece of this puzzle, remember. The other primary suspect being actively protected, potentially by a Quartermaine matriarch herself, is Michael Corinthos.
Right. Michael's position is incredibly precarious. We know Tracy Quartermaine knows Michael was outside Drew's place right at the exact time of the shooting. That single piece of eyewitness information is potential dynamite for the PCPD.
But what's fascinating here is Tracy's motivation. It's so calculating. She doesn't have an allegiance to Michael's innocence. She has an allegiance to her hatred of Drew.
Wow, that's cold.
It is. That hatred is so intense, so all-consuming for Tracy, that it supersedes any desire she might have for justice or truth. She is willing to protect Michael, not out of love or loyalty to him,
But because
she sees him as a useful instrument for destroying Drew. She is strategically covering for Michael because she wants Drew to suffer more than she wants to punish Michael, even if Michael was involved somehow.
That elevates Tracy's actions from, like, simple family protection to high-level strategic self-interest. It's ruthless. Michael even challenges her on it, right? Essentially telling her if she's so sure he did something, she should go to the cops knowing she won't.
Exactly. He understands he's safe for now because her desire for Drew's agony is greater than her desire for actual justice. It's a twisted kind of security.
Michael's danger, it seems, is becoming widely recognized by those closest to him. We know Alexis gives Sonny a serious warning, and the notes strongly suggest this warning is about the Drew shooting and Michael's increasingly shaky alibi.
Yeah, it sounds like Alexis is warning Sonny that his son is in real danger of being implicated, likely due to that combination of proximity to the scene and the weapon originating from the Q property. She sees the walls closing in.
And the police action confirms they are laser-focused on the source of that weapon, doesn't it? Chase and Anna are scheduled to serve a search warrant, which we can safely assume is targeting the Quartermaine mansion, since Edward's gun was used.
Makes the most sense.
They're looking for forensic evidence, right? And the importance of this entire case hinges entirely on whose fingerprints they find on that attempted murder weapon.
That's the crux of it, whose prints are on the gun, because that ties someone directly to it.
And this all ties back to Drew, who's supposedly convalescing.
Supposedly. But his focus is purely on revenge. He is determined, absolutely determined, to destroy Michael and Tracy, and he desperately wants Michael to go down for the shooting.
Even if he knows Michael isn't the real shooter.
That's the chilling part. Even if he suspects or knows Michael isn't the real shooter, he wants Michael punished anyway.
Drew is truly out for blood then. The sources warn that he may hit an all-time low, promising that we will see the nastiest thing we've seen yet from him. He's actively maneuvering to ensure Michael takes the fall.
This is a profound descent into villainy for Drew. It demonstrates he's willing to sacrifice actual justice for his own venomous vendetta against the Quartermaine legacy, against Michael, against Carly.
It's personal. Deeply personal.
And this leads us to another shocking revelation, one that connects Drew's current rage directly to past events, revealing a history of manipulation that we weren't really privy to until now.
Okay. What's that?
It involves Willow.
That brings us to the shocking revelation Chase is expected to make to Willow Tate. Something likely to throw her into absolute despair. Okay, let's unpack this. What is the core revelation?
The evidence apparently suggests that Drew bribed the judge in the custody case.
Wait, what? The custody case over Wiley Scott?
Yes. Bribed the judge to ensure the children, specifically Scout in this context, were awarded to Michael, which, by extension, kept Willow close to him and Scout.
He bribed a judge.
That's what the evidence suggests Chase is about to tell Willow. This means the entire premise of that lengthy, incredibly contentious legal battle, it was fraudulent, orchestrated by Drew himself.
But wait, this is a massive risk for Drew? A felony. Does the source indicate how much Drew paid, or which judge? This isn't just like bending the rules. This is outright judicial bribery. Did Drew already have this kind of criminal capacity, or is this just sheer desperation speaking volumes about his character now?
The sources are a bit light on the specifics, like the judge's name or the exact amount, but the evidence of the bride itself is apparently solid enough for Chase to reveal it to Willow.
Wow.
And what this shows, I think, is that the capacity for that kind of manipulation was probably always there, likely simmering beneath the surface, just waiting for the right level of emotional desperation to boil over.
So he was willing to risk everything back then, too.
Seems like it. Willing to risk everything to win, cementing his connection to Scout and, by proxy, to Willow.
That completely dismantles the context of that entire legal battle, doesn't it? It takes away Willow's perceived moral high ground and forces her to confront the fact that she aligned herself with a man willing to commit felonies to win a family dispute.
Absolutely. It creates a tremendous internal conflict for Willow. Why would she believe it? Well, maybe because ultimately this act of bribery helped her get what she wanted at the time, that small family unit with Drew and Scout.
But it taints that victory completely.
Totally paints it. And given Drew's current, very public descent into rage and villainy, this revelation feels completely plausible, doesn't it? The sources even state that it does sound like a Drew thing to do, confirming that his current determination to win by any means necessary might actually be rooted in his past behavior.
The consequences here are enormous. This revelation could potentially push Willow back toward Michael, maybe, despite all their recent conflict, or maybe push her away from both men entirely.
Could go either way. It paints a picture of Drew not just as a victim of circumstance, but as a dangerous, manipulative player willing to cheat the system when it suits his vendetta.
And the fact that this revelation is coming out now.
Yeah, the timing is key. It suggests that his enemies, or maybe even former allies, are finding proof of his shady past actions, which only adds more fuel to the fires of family hatred and suspicion already raging. Drew's past is catching up to him just as he tries to manipulate his present.
Just incredible layers of deception.
Huh.
All right, let's pivot away from the Quartermaines and their, criminal enterprises for just a moment. Let's check in on Portia Robinson. She is apparently about to receive some truly life-changing news. And it involves a paternity puzzle that could redefine her entire future.
Indeed. We know Dr. Isaiah Gannon is circling back because Portia had indicated she wanted to give this thing a try after their recent entanglement. But the most immediate personal drama centers squarely on Portia's personal life. This week, the sources say she is taking a pregnancy test, and she's anticipating life-changing news.
And the sources heavily suggest this life-changing news is a positive pregnancy test result, don't they?
They certainly lean that way, yes. Which launches the classic Port Charles Who's the Daddy storyline. But this time with incredibly high emotional stakes, given her marital status with Curtis Ashford, even if they are estranged.
Yeah, this is more than just a simple paternity test. It's a massive emotional and logistical hurdle for her. If the test is positive, Portia has to immediately confront two agonizing questions.
Right. First, is the father Curtis her husband, or is it Isaiah Gannon, the newer involvement?
And second, regardless of the DNA, how does she proceed? Does she tell the father, whoever it is? Or does she try to conceal it, maybe to protect her already fragile relationship with her daughter Trina, who has been through so much drama already?
That's the huge dilemma. This uncertainty adds another layer of complexity to her career. She's chief of staff, remember, and her family life. She's balancing these extreme professional demands with this potentially seismic personal shift.
So how does this impending life change affect her reconciliation prospects with Curtis? Does it help? hurt.
Well, the timing is critical and potentially awful. While Portia is dealing with this very private crisis, her estranged husband, Curtis Ashford, is also deeply involved in the Drew shooting investigation.
Okay.
The sources indicate Curtis shares a theory with Portia this week. It's highly possible this theory is about who shot Drew and why, or perhaps what the shooter might be trying to do next. He might be confiding in her.
Wow. That would be a huge emotional load for Portia right now, managing a potential pregnancy and trying to process her ex-husband's theories on a serious crime he might be getting drawn into.
Exactly. And the sources imply Curtis, being the meticulous sleuth he tends to be, may be sharing these suspicions only with Portia, which adds this layer of intimacy and trust just as she might be considering keeping massive news from him.
Oof. That is classic soap opera tightrope walking right there. She needs his support, maybe more than ever, but she knows the paternity reveal could potentially destroy their tentative reconnection.
Precisely. High stakes for Portia.
Okay, let's shift gears again to another mystery involving a character who is equally, if not more, secretive, Britt Westbourne. She is still dealing with the bizarre fallout of her brother, Nathan West, apparently being alive.
Yeah, Britt is confirmed to be thrown for a loop. She might hear from her mystery boss again, that's still hanging out there. But the core issue right now seems to be the shock of Nathan West's return. Her reaction to Nathan being alive is described as very off.
Off how, though?
Yeah.
Like, does she seem sad or shocked or angry that he's back? We know Britt has a ridiculously complicated past, especially concerning her mother, Lyles Obrecht, and the notorious villain, Cesar Fizon.
Well, the speculation drawn from the source details is pretty profound, actually. It suggests Britt may have actually known Nathan was alive all along.
She knew.
Possibly. And she might be bothered, maybe even angry, that he's now on the loose, so to speak.
Why? What's the deeper context?
It likely relates to Faison's legacy. If Nathan was hidden away somewhere, it was almost certainly to protect him from Faison, an act possibly orchestrated by Britt and Obrecht together.
Ah, okay. That makes sense.
So now that Nathan is free and back in Port Charles, it destabilizes their entire carefully constructed world. It potentially compromises Obrecht's freedom, maybe exposes Britt or others to new threats from Faison's old associates or enemies. His reappearance isn't necessarily a good thing in their world.
That puts a massive weight on Britt's shoulders then. But despite these reservations, she does talk to Spinelli, right? Asking him if Maxie would be okay with James meeting his namesake father.
Yes, she does. And the sources confirm Nathan does meet his son, James, this week.
Wow, okay, so that happens.
So despite Britt's potential opposition or her strange reaction, this massive emotional reunion happens. But this whole situation is clearly pushing Britt to her limit. It's cracking her facade.
It sounds like it. The sources tell us Britt has to get tough with somebody. That suggests she's being forced to lay down a marker, reestablish control over her chaotic life somehow. Who is she going to confront, do you think? Obrecht? Lulu? Carly? Or Nathan himself?
It almost has to be someone tied to this secret past, right? If Obrecht was involved in hiding Nathan, Britt might be trying to protect her mother. If Nathan's return somehow puts Maxie or James in danger, Britt will act ruthlessly, and we know she can.
True.
Her secretive past, her connection to her mother's schemes, it always suggests this complicated internal conflict. And Nathan's public emergence has just destabilized her carefully constructed reality, forcing her back into that role of the protective, maybe ruthless daughter of Faison.
That definitely gives that storyline the depth it deserves.
Okay, now for a few quick-fire entanglements that are maybe secondary, but no less dramatic, starting with a powerful moment of potential redemption for Ava Jerome. Yes. First, we have what sounds like a massive character moment for Ava. She apparently shows up at Alexis Davis's place just in time to save Alexis from Rick Lansing, who has a knife to Alexis's throat.
Oh my God. That is a horrific, incredibly specific flashback for Alexis, isn't it?
It is, and the thematic significance here, it cannot be overstated. This scene directly echoes the trauma Alexis suffered years ago when Julian Jerome, Ava's own brother, held a knife to her throat.
I remember that. Horrifying.
So Ava intervening now to save her friend from a near-identical threat imposed by Rick Lansing, a man connected to her own complicated past with Sonny. It's a hugely powerful act of redemption. Ava is actively defying her own family's dark legacy of violence.
She's protecting someone she cares about from the kind of terror her brother inflicted.
Exactly. That is a massive character moment. It signifies Ava's deliberate move away from the darkness that defined the Jerome family for so long. Really significant.
Okay, good catch. Then we circle back to the Quartermaines briefly regarding a potential bright spot? Maybe. Gio Palmieri.
Yeah, a little bit of hope, maybe. Gio is expected to make a big move, possibly returning to the Q mansion, and maybe deciding to let his parents, Brooklyn and Dante, have more access to him.
That's a small bit of positive news amid all the gunfire and legal threats, isn't it? A sign that perhaps the younger generation can actually find some peace.
We can hope. It would be nice.
And finally, a quick update on Jocelyn Jacks. She's back in Port Charles. She and Vaughn were directly ordered by Jack Brennan to end their relationship.
Mm-hmm. Daddy Jack laid down the law.
Right. But given that Brennan's word is already suspect in the police investigation, the question is, will Jocelyn and Vaughn actually defy those orders? Will they start sneaking around behind his back?
Knowing Jocelyn's history of rebellion against parental figures, authority figures, I'd bet money on defiance.
Yeah, me too.
They are likely to start sneaking around, which just adds another headache for Brennan, who's already dealing with Anna Devane scrutinizing his every move. He doesn't need his daughter disobeying him right now.
Definitely not. More complications. Hashtag outro.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's try to synthesize this Quartermain cataclysm we've just walked through. The narrative that emerges is incredibly dark, actually. It confirms that Drew Kane's quest for revenge has completely transformed him. He's become a villain, really, willing to destroy his own family members, risk a felony charge bribery just to settle a score.
Yeah, the transformation is stark. And Monica's will. It has done exactly what a Quartermain will is apparently designed to do. Fracture the family even further, ensure basically no one is happy, and trigger immediate legal warfare.
While simultaneously rewarding the family's golden boys, Jason and Michael, again.
Right. Meanwhile, you've got two characters who are, historically at least, somewhat innocent adjacent. Carly and Michael, now the primary suspects in a shooting fueled by years and years of rivalry and corporate hatred.
The core context here, for you, the listener, is that these events really just confirm that the Quartermain family, even after a funeral, remains the absolute epicenter of Port Charles drama. They use both money, the will and violence, the shooting, as their primary currency for resolving conflicts. It's how they operate.
And the police might make an arrest soon, maybe even this week. But resolving the shooting itself, that will not solve the deeper family hatreds. If anything, it might intensify them.
Especially with Drew's current mindset.
Exactly. This feels like a point of no return for Drew. We've seen him exhibit this calculated, almost Faison-esque villainy by allegedly bribing a judge years ago, and now actively maneuvering to frame Michael. He is sacrificing all moral ground. He's placing himself alongside figures like, well, Julie and Jerome in terms of ethical compromise.
That's a heavy comparison.
It is. The police are going to find a fingerprint on that gun, eventually. And whether it's Michael's or Carly's or someone else's entirely, Drew seems determined to watch Michael suffer regardless of the truth.
Which leaves us with a final provocative thought for you, the listener, to consider. Given Drew's absolute determination to frame Michael, his proven willingness to bribe and manipulate, and his descent to what the sources call an all-time low, what happens when the real shooter is inevitably revealed? Assuming it's not Michael.
Right, what then? Will Drew still be willing to let Michael take the fall, sacrificing actual justice for his own venomous vendetta against the Quartermain legacy? Or has he descended so far down this dark path that the truth simply no longer matters to him? Only the destruction of his perceived enemies.
That's the moral tightrope he's walking right now, isn't it?
It really is. And the consequences for Port Charles, for everyone involved, will be severe regardless of the outcome. We'll have to leave you there to mull that over. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
We'll catch you next time for more Port Charles chaos.